He is the one.
You know what I realized, Dr. Powell? Dying's something you have no control over. Why waste your life being afraid of it? I'll sleep on my stomach from now on. I'll eat fish with bones in it. I'll swallow the biggest pill you can find. Bring it on. I feel good.
Within the heart is a sacred space where creation takes place, and that living within this sacred space changes one's relationship to all of nature and to the universe. The brain has an ego that sees itself separate from the reality and also sees itself as the most important part of the reality. But within the heart, one is not separate from the reality, but becomes one with the reality. There is no separation, and all parts are equal.
What you and I are asking ourselves to do in this lifetime, through the temples of our emotions, through the temples of our relationships, is to find that balance between the logical mind and the wisdom of the heart, and live that balance day in and day out. That becomes the compassion that we choose to have in our lives. Every emotion, each feeling, each response that you choose to any given situation affects every other person on this earth to some degree. That's the beauty of the holographic model. That's the power in compassion.
Your heart has a little cavity between the two ventricular of the heart. And that little cavity has the highest electromagnetic field of your body. It can be measured up to 8 feet away from you.
If we simply, with love and thanks, it's real easy, continue to put out these frequencies and these sounds, that the spiritual renaissance will literally solve all the earth's problems.
If someone sends you hate and you react with hate, then you're acting at the lowest level it's possible to act at. If someone sends you hate and you react indifferently, you're sort of average. But if someone sends you hate or anger and you react with love, because that's what's inside, and that's all you have to give away, because that's how you choose to use that dimension that is in back of your form or suffusing your form, then that is what you will start expecting and seeing in your world. And it becomes a way of living.
There's some kind of bigger thing we can all appreciate. And it sounds like you don't mind calling it God. But when you forgive, you love. And when you love, God's light shines on you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the true thing is, I know we're creating a scene, but creating a scene is not illegal. You were born free, you will live free, you will die free. You are allowed to make a scene, you're allowed to scream for joy, you're allowed to complain, you're allowed to cry, you're allowed to love people, you're allowed to hug people. And we're starting to live in a world where we're starting to feel scared. We're starting to forget just how divine and special we are as human beings. Every single one of you is the only example of you that will ever exist. And there's not a single authority on this world, especially not private security men, who can tell you how to behave in any time, any place, anywhere.
We can choose our future. We can choose to have a world with peace, a world without disease, a world without want, a world without pollution and dead whales, we can start to become what we really are, which is a gardener not just of our garden here on Earth, the Eden that we were given, but a gardener of the galaxy.
So it comes back to people taking personal responsibility for what they think, what they want to believe, and what it is that they want to create.
Every one of us has a vote in terms of what happens in this time in the history of the world, because the vote is a non-verbal vote made with our hearts. We now know that the human heart is directly tied, directly linked to the fields of the earth that literally regulate the systems of the weather and the climate and the temperature. And when we feel certain ways in our body, our heart fields literally are registered by satellites orbiting 200 miles above the earth. That's how much influence we have.
This is what's happening now. We're starting to wake up, and we have the opportunity now. It's a wonderful time to be alive, because all these things are coming together in this point we call time, where we have the opportunity to break out of this cycle of mental and emotional imprisonment. We're being offered the key with knowledge, with understanding, with the gathering, opening awareness, and with the energy change that's underpinning that. It's now a time for us to decide if we're going to take the key and turn it.
And I am privileged to be alive in the most important era in the history of the human race.
We are witnessing the transition from the prison society to the paradise society, if you like, or the freedom society.
And we can't see that right now. I mean, we can hint at it, we can feel, we can see that there is tremendous change happening around us. But the kinds of changes that are about to occur, they will be rather surprising to people.
You will no longer work to have to eat, to have to clothe yourself, to have to put a roof over your head. That will not be a part of our reality in the near future. We are no longer slaves to their systems. We will be contributing, nurturing our natural talents to our communities, because we will have that want inside of ourselves. We won't live under the energy of competition, of greed, of power, okay, of extreme egos. That will not be part of our existence. That will all be dissolved. That's what all the pain and suffering is that we're going through now, is dissolving that within each and every one of us. And then you will have free time to express yourself and just be you. All the technological devices we will be using will be either exactly in equilibrium with the harmonics of this planet, or will be beneficial to the planet, will add. There will be nothing allowed to operate which will take any longer.
Our evolution is not an evolution of individuals. Our evolution is an evolution of community. Human beings, individual humans, each one of you, each one of us, is a cell in a larger community coming together to share awareness to create one living organism, and it would be called humanity.
Okay.
We are not humans until we create humanity. When we create humanity, which is when we all recognize that we're all cells in the same living organism and work in a coherent fashion, we have then created the next level of evolution.